So, if you do me a favor, anybody, let's take one of these and pass it around, please.
Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us today, Dr. Miller.
Well, glad to be here.
Wait, is that on? Nope. Take that one. Testing, testing. Here we go.
Good.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm glad to be here. Glad you stopped by the office and shared that you wanted to come on to the show today. So I'm just so happy and grateful to be here, and hopefully to share some information about what I do as a chiropractor, what chiropractors do.
Okay. We're not going to get into the fact that every time I stop by, I feel guilty because I know, well, not lately, because I've been getting myself back in shape. I've been exercising more, eating a little bit better. But normally when I stop by his office, I come in like that because I already know. I'm asking him to tell people to do stuff that I'm not doing, and that's not right. But anyway, let's start with the basics. What does a chiropractor do?
So, what chiropractic does, in essence, is we really help the body function better by making sure that your spine stays in proper alignment. If we look at the human body, we know that your brain, spinal cord, nerve system, runs. It controls, conducts every activity in the human body. And so, when we encounter stress in life, what typically happens, similar to what happens if you overload an outlet in your house, what happens? The circuit breaker pops off and you can't utilize the appliances that you need to use in your house. So within the spinal system, and this is something I learned when I was as a young kid growing up. When I was a young kid, I suffered with asthma. And what I typically did with my mother and stepfather would do is take me to the doctors, hospitals, and all they did was really just give me medication to do what? To just really suppress the symptoms. It wasn't until I was 19 years old that a young lady that I was dating at the time introduced me to her chiropractor. And as a young person at that time, I had no clue what chiropractors did. So what I understood in sitting there with my chiropractor, and this is what I explain to my patients now. Your brain sits inside of this hard, cranium. At the base of your skull, you have an opening where your spinal cord exits, travels down a spinal canal. You have 24 movable bones in your spine that, in order for your body system to receive the information that it needs, those vertebrae have to be in proper alignment. So when you and I encounter stress, and we can, basically today we have 4 types of stress that are impacting our human body. One is going to be mental and emotional stress. We all know what that is, especially if we went through COVID the last few years, okay? The next is going to be chemical stressors, things you put into your body, things that are in the environment that you have no control over that impact your body. And the third is going to be physical stress. I mean, think about the times as a young kid you fall off a bike, football injuries, all those things that happen to the body. And the last one, believe it or not, is these things we call cell phones. They emit frequencies, and they impact the human body, whether you like it or not, they do. So when your body is functioning optimally, your body can deal with those stressors. But when that stress becomes overwhelming and is prolonged over a period of time, just like an electrical current, there's going to be a point in time where your body's going to trip. And one or more of those vertebrae in your spine is going to go out of alignment, putting pressure on the nerve. And as soon as that occurs, your body's going to start having malfunction. We know this for a fact. The condition when we talk about a spine moving out of alignment is called a subluxation. And it means that one or more of those vertebrae in your spine has moved out of its normal alignment, puts pressure on the nerve, causes your body not to function properly. Now, you know as well as I that your body is an electrical system. There's an intelligence that's in the human body. Just like we look at the universe, there's order and organization in the universe. That universal intelligence that runs this planet, runs this world, is in us that we call innate intelligence. So what does that mean? That means that when your nerve system is functioning right, it knows when it's time for you to sleep, it knows when you need to sneeze, it knows when you need to blink your eyes. That is all coming from your brain and nervous system. So what chiropractors do basically is what I was taught when I first went into my chiropractic office at 19, that when my spine was out of alignment, it was having an impact on my bronchial system that I did not know about until I, later going to school, understand how the brain nerve system works. And when my chiropractor started adjusting me 3 days a week, in 6 months, no longer had asthma. Longer had the problems that I was experiencing as a young kid growing up. Okay? So from that, the other interesting thing is, like, as a young kid, my grandparents lived in Philadelphia. My biological father was killed when I was like 4.5 years old. And I would go to Philly every summer to stay with my grandmother. She lived at 45th and Chestnut.
Oh, West Philly.
West Philadelphia. And every week that I was there, she would take me on a bus, go up to 61st and Chestnut, and get off the bus, go into this office. I would sit in the waiting room waiting for her. And within 10 minutes, she was out. We're back down to 45th and Chestnut. It wasn't until I was in chiropractic school that I learned that the person she was going to for all of those years was a chiropractor. Okay? His name was Dr. Jerry Thompson. He's from, I think, Misfit, New Jersey, but he had his practice in Philadelphia. And so what I try to teach people is when they come into my office, that your body has everything that it needs to help it get well. Now, you and I, we've been indoctrinated for, God knows, hundreds of years, that when you get sick, take drugs. And I believe this with all my heart. Like Bill Maher, who said on his show that the pharmaceutical medical system does not want you sick. No, excuse me. They don't want you healthy, and they don't want you dead. They want you in between, so that from the time you get out of your parents' womb to the time you leave, you're on some kind of drug. Okay? So we become like the waste plant for what we see going on in our communities today. You talk about food deserts. In my community, I've been doing this for years. This coming October, I'll be in practice 40 years.
All right.
Okay, and it's been, I say this because when I talk to people and they learn about what I do, the first thing is, and I tell my chiropractors, oh, my back is young, has nothing to do with that. Has nothing to do with that. I'm telling you that when your spine is in proper alignment, your body can function. I tell people, like, even when it comes to, my children, never been vaccinated. Why? Because I believe with all my heart that God put into our bodies every single thing that we need in order for the body to be healthy. Every time, and again, there's going to be people who you believe in that system, and that's good for you. I don't. I believe in it in terms of when there's a lot of emergency situations going on. I think the best place to be in the world if there's an emergency in terms of healthcare is here in America with the healthcare system. But you got to understand today, in my opinion, healthcare today is run by pharmaceuticals. They run the show today. You understand? And so a lot of times people will say and ask me sometimes, well, why don't doctors believe in chiropractors? It's not they don't believe in us. It's the system that they're in that doesn't believe in us, because you can't put chiropractic on the stock market. Doesn't make money. Okay? So who do I believe would benefit from being on the chiropractic care? Any person that has a spine. And if you encounter stress, I'm telling you, you need to be under chiropractic care. When should you start? You start like I did with my children when they were infants. My children, I have a 48-year-old. I have one of my sons, unfortunately, was killed in a motor vehicle accident in 2006. I have a 31-year-old. I have a 23-year-old. Every one of my children, my wife, my grandparents, excuse me, not my grandparents, but my parents, all my brothers and sisters, they get adjusted. And they understand that by keeping their spines adjusted, the body's going to function well.